a version of you that only shows up after the meeting is over. In this video, I am going to name the exact mechanism behind that experience. The one where your clearest thinking, your sharpest response, the most authoritative version of you arrives about 90 seconds after the door closes. It happens after presentations, after negotiations, after the high-stakes meetings, where the stakes were the highest and your performance needed to match them. You know the moment. The drive home, the elevator, the shower the next morning, everything suddenly clear, sharp, fully formed, and completely useless. This is not random. It is not nerves. And it is not evidence that you are not capable. It is a mechanism, and that mechanism has a name. Stay to the end, because when you understand what is actually causing this, you will stop fixing the wrong thing. And stopping that is where the gap between who you are and how you come across finally starts to close. In 1776, a French philosopher named Denis Diderot described this experience, and he described it so precisely that we still use this phrase today. After leaving a difficult conversation, Diderot wrote, "A sensitive man, overwhelmed by argument, becomes confused and can only think clearly again at the bottom of the stairs. L'esprit d'escalier, the spirit of the staircase." He was describing the experience of leaving a room and finding, there at the bottom of the stairs, everything he should have said. The perfect argument, the sharp response, the one line that would have changed the entire direction of the conversation. Available, complete, too late. 250 years later, I hear this exact description in almost every intake call I take. Different words. Same stairs, same parking lot, same 2 a.m. email that never gets sent. And every time I hear it, I know one thing immediately. The person telling me the story is not struggling because they lack authority. They are struggling because something is blocking the authority they already have from arriving on time. That something is what this video is about. I want to be specific about what this experience actually is, because there is a version of it that people accept as personality, as limitation, as just how they are in English rooms. It is not. Think about the last time it happened to you. You were in a room that mattered. A presentation in front of senior stakeholders. A negotiation where the other side pushed back. A meeting where someone made a claim that was wrong and you knew it was wrong. You had the data, the context, the argument, and by the time the response arrived, the moment had already moved on. The room kept going. The conversation shifted. Someone else filled the silence. And you sat there with a complete, correct, authoritative response fully formed in your head, just not in the room. That gap between the thought and the performance of the thought is not a language gap. In your own native language, in rooms where you are fully operational, that gap does not exist. You do not experience l'esprit d'escalier in Arabic or in your native tongue. The thought and performance are one motion. You do not have to find the authority. You just have it. The same authority, the same intelligence, the same expertise. Two different rooms, two completely different experiences. That asymmetry is the clue. That asymmetry is the whole diagnosis. Here is the mechanism. When you walk into a high-stakes room, your brain has a system that is extraordinarily good at performing. It is the system that stores everything you have learned and experienced, not as memories you have to retrieve, but as automatic patterns you can access without thinking. Expert drivers do not think about how to steer. Expert surgeons do not think about how to hold the instrument. The expertise is automatic. It runs without conscious direction. Your boardroom authority works the same way in the rooms where it works. Your ability to read the room, to find the opening, to know when to press and when to hold, to deliver the right thing at the right moment. In the rooms where you are fully operational, none of this is deliberate. It just happens because it is stored at the automatic level, and the automatic level is fast, precise, and does not need your attention to run. That is the first system. The second system is your conscious mind. And this is where the problem lives. The conscious mind is a monitor. It runs a commentary. Is this landing? Do they understand what I'm saying? Was that the right word? Should I have said it differently? Am I coming across the way I need to? In low-stakes situations, in casual conversations, in familiar rooms with people you trust, this monitor stays quiet. There is no reason for it to turn on. The performance is happening. The monitor observes and stays out of the way. But the monitor has a trigger, and the trigger is exactly the conditions you walk into a high-stakes English boardroom. High stakes, a room full of people with more context in the language that you have. A cultural operating system where the rules of authority are different from the rules you were trained in. And under those conditions, the monitor activates. The commentary begins. And from the moment it does, you are no longer fully in the conversation. You are in the conversation and watching yourself be in the conversation simultaneously. Two processes, one cognitive resource. The monitor takes its share, and the automatic system, the one that holds your authority, gets what is left. And what is left is not enough to perform at your actual level. Why it gets worse when it matters most. The part that no one talks about, the part that makes this experience so frustrating for high-performing professionals specifically, is this. The higher the stakes, the stronger the monitor signal. The more important the room, the louder the commentary. The meeting where your performance matters most is the exact meeting where the interference runs hardest. This is not a personal failing. This is neurophysiology. Research consistently shows that in genuinely high-stakes interactions, where the outcomes are significant, where opinions differ, where emotions run, the brain partially activates a threat response, just enough to divert cognitive resources from the prefrontal cortex, from nuanced language, from calibrated judgment, from the precise social reading that authority requires, toward the parts of the brain that are preparing for a different kind of challenge. The boardroom is not a physical threat, but the cognitive architecture does not know that. And the professional who is already carrying a heavier language load, because any language that is not fully automatic costs more processing than one that is starting with less available capacity before the monitor even turns on. This is why the most qualified person in the room sometimes speaks the least. Not because they have less to say, but because the overhead of performing in that room is higher for them than it is for the person next to them who is operating entirely in their first language. Here's what this means. The professional who leaves every important meeting knowing exactly what they should have said and then produces that thinking in the elevator or in the car at midnight is not demonstrating a gap in their capability. They are demonstrating that their capability is fully intact. The authority that shows up in the parking lot is not a different, better version of them. It is them, the complete, real version. The gap is not between who they are and who they should be. The gap is between who they are and when the room gets to see it. Diderot accepted the stairs. He described the experience as a kind of personal limitation, the way sensitive, intelligent men are. He had no framework for what was actually happening. He couldn't have. The neuroscience did not exist yet. You do not have to accept the stairs. What is blocking your authority in the English boardroom is not a deficit. It is interference. Those are two completely different problems with two completely different solutions. And the first step toward removing the interference is understanding precisely what it is, which pattern is running in your specific case, in the specific rooms where the gap appears. That is a diagnostic problem, not a development problem. The experience of knowing what to say after the meeting ends is not a language problem, and it is not a confidence problem. It is an interference problem. Two systems competing for one resource in the exact conditions where performance matters most. The authority was always there. The room just has not seen it yet. The link in the description takes you to a short form. Assessment questions first. They identify which pattern is operating in your case. Qualifying questions after. They tell me whether what I do is the right intervention for where you are right now. I read every submission personally. If your profile fits, I will reach out to book a call. If it doesn't, you will hear that too, directly, and with a clear reason why. Fill it in honestly. Vague answers produce a vague diagnosis, and a vague diagnosis is worth nothing to either of us.